Hello, everybody. Dallisa Hocking here. Welcome to the conclusion of our limited series of haunted encounters. We have a big episode for you today. I am a fifth-generation psychic medium. I see, I hear, and I feel information, and I've been working in collaboration with the Haunted Hotel Apache at the BINION'S Gambling Hall and Hotel in Las Vegas. And we're going to give away prizes today. I've got a couple of free gifts, including a complimentary 3 tarot card reading over email and a free class pass for those of you that are interested in opening yourself up to love. So more about that in a minute. We are going to be giving away 5 two-night complimentary stays at the Hotel Apache. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing on today's show today. The Players Club at Binion's Gambling Hall and Hotel in Las Vegas is very, very haunted. We're going to go to a couple of employees that are going to tell us what has been happening over there. Then we've got Chris who's going to jump on, and he's going to talk about this really interesting spirit that came through when he was traveling in Colorado. I'm also going to show you a couple photos from Caroline that she took of her dog. And there's something interesting in these photos, so we're going to take a look at that as well. Tim, we can't conclude this limited series without going back and checking in with Tim, who's the general manager of Binion's and Four Queens in Las Vegas. He's got another story for us, and this one is perplexing. I'm going to be welcoming Shannon on in just a couple of minutes. Shannon has been with me the entire series, and she's a great wing woman, and she's going to weigh in on what's been going on. I'll give my thoughts as well. But like I said, it's a supersized edition, the last episode in the series of Haunted Encounters. Lots of prizes, lots of giveaways. Do me a favor. If you are tuning in live, go ahead and drop a comment in here and let me know and say hello. For fun, why don't you drop in the comments what your favorite gambling game is? So if you gamble, do you like the slots? Do you like craps? Do you like blackjack? What's your favorite? And if you don't live in Las Vegas, that's perfectly fine. When you come on vacation, what's the game you usually go to? I remember spending time with my grandfather. He used to hide money in the walls of his house, and he lived in Idaho, and he would come and visit me in Las Vegas, and he'd take the money out of his stash in the walls of his house. And he'd come and he'd play slot machines. So those were his favorites. So yeah, we've got Trent saying slots. Yeah, beautiful. Oh yeah, Amanda saying slots, Caroline slots. Connie is saying slots. It looks like everybody wants to play a slot machine. Yeah, Katie's saying slots, Wheel of Fortune, or any of the penny ones. Oh my gosh, she's saying she even plays it at the Albertsons. I love that. That's awesome. So I'll go ahead and take the menu off of here. I'm going to put at the bottom of your screen right now the information for today, as well. As I mentioned, we're going to be giving away prizes. And if you are interested in having your own ghost adventure, the number is at the bottom of your screen to book a room at the Haunted Hotel Apache. So make sure you check that out. All right. So we have 4 different video segments that we're going to be taking a look at today. I mentioned those just a minute ago. There's an interesting theme going on in today's episode. You're going to notice that in just a minute. But why I even bring it up right now is, Las Vegas has a very interesting history, right? And so I'm going to ask you a trivia question here in just a moment. I'm going to start giving away our first set of prizes. You can win a hat. We're giving away 5 hats, and I'm going to show you how you're going to do that in just a second. But I think you're going to read this trivia question, and you're going to know the answer right away. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to watch for the trivia question up on the screen. I'm going to do a fun fact first, and then there's going to be a trivia question. What you're going to do is you're going to go over to the Binion's Facebook page, and you're going to send a message to the Binion's Facebook page with the answer to what you think the answer to the trivia question is. The first 5 people who get the answer to the trivia question correct will win one of the 5 hats. We'll get it mailed off to you. And then there's a little bit of a theme. I'm giving you a hint here. there's a little bit of a theme because Chris's video clip that we're going to look at here shortly has a little bit of an overlapping theme going on here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what your fun fact and your trivia question is for this week. All right. How many of you think you know the answer to that? Go ahead and send over the message on the Facebook page for Binion's Gambling Hall and Hotel. Just shoot them over a message, and the first 5 people win that hat. I'll welcome Elizabeth on in just a little bit, who's helping behind the scenes, and we'll announce who the 5 people are that got that trivia question correct. Again, it's who was permanently buried under the Flamingo after his murder in 1947. So I think without further ado, we're going to go right into our clips for this week. Reminder, it is a supersized edition, so we're going to go through 4 different segments and showing you the paranormal stories and talking about that activity. And then at the end of the show, we're going to be giving away complimentary 2-night stays at the Hotel Apache, as well as 3 tarot card reading over email, and also a free class pass for hypnosis on opening yourself up to love. And those are from practitioners that work for my company, Spirit and Spark. So looking forward to that. So let's go ahead and bring Shannon on. All right, Shannon, how are you?
Hey, Dallisa, I'm good. And I love that fact about weddings. I think you know I got married in Vegas, and I'm from Washington State. And I'm really surprised that nobody said poker. Now, some people said Pai Gow, and others said slots and let it ride and a couple things. But what about old school poker? I mean, I used to play in Binion's poker all the time, so I didn't see any of those. But I'm happy to join you today.
Yeah, we have Keno and we have bingo. That you know, people said some blackjack, but lots of slots. I know slots to me, I could just sit there and like hit the button. It's fun. It's fun. Okay, beautiful. So I'm sure that the people answered that question really quickly. I didn't make it too hard this week, but yeah. When we are in high time for weddings, I mean, it's every casino, even off strip or off downtown locations. And oh my gosh, they have drive-throughs, they have Elvis. I mean, you name it. We have weddings. We know how to do weddings. Absolutely. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show a clip of Maria followed by Anne. They both work in the Players Club at Binion's, and we've had people from the Players Club, employees from the Players Club, tell stories on previous episodes, and it's interesting because I really think that is a very haunted, like focal point within the hotel. But Shannon, we'll get your thoughts after we watch Maria and Anne tell us what is happening to them at the Players Club.
Hi, my name is Maria and I work at the Players Club. The weirdest thing that happens here on a daily basis is the nails on the counter or the player's card on the counter and people typing, but nobody's there typing.
Hi, my name is Ann. I work at the Players Club. I was just standing here doing absolutely nothing. The embosser just went off and started tripping, and I'm like, oh my God, nobody was touching anything. Just started printing out. I couldn't believe it. It was just, girl, it just started printing out players cards on its own. Nobody was touching anything. Standing right here, just like I am now, the embosser just started printing out. Okay. nobody is there, and it's just printing out by itself. So a lot going on.
And I'm totally with you. Anne cracks me up because I can't even imagine, right? Like if you're standing there working, minding your own business, and the machine starts printing off Players Club cards and nobody's there. She cracks me up. Yeah, what do you make of this? Do you think it's like an extra sensitive place in the casino or a portal, or what do you think?
Okay, so this is what I think. So for people who have been to Binion's, and for those who have not, I'll describe it. But where the Players Club window and area is almost literally, to me, the heart of the floor on the first floor. You walk, it's from the, you have a large front entrance, and you have the back entrance, you have the restrooms, and that's where you're going to go. It's kind of like this main thoroughfare. And there's a lot of energy that goes through that walkway. And there's also a lot of energy that's in that particular area behind that window. What's interesting about it is if you go there during the day when it's not super busy, I went there on the off season, it's pretty quiet. I mean, if you don't have people waiting in line and you don't have people interacting, those people that are behind the window are talking to each other, or they're paying attention to whatever they're doing. So the contrast is very interesting to me. I think there's a lot of energy there, just like kind of Anne's energy. There's a lot of people that work there. I think that makes it easier and more attractive for those spirits that are in that hotel to be able to use that energy, communicate with things. Because if you think about the gaming floor is like nuts, right? You got bells, you got whistles, you got things going on. And when people are playing slots, it's like they're playing slots. It's, you're not getting a lot of crosstalk and stuff. So it's just very compartmentalized energy. But I would say that's the hub. That is the heart of being able to manipulate things and have people pay attention. And the other thing that I think is really cool is in this series, we've heard from lots of people in that Players Club that work there. And so they're not, to find a commercial property that has activity where people are openly talking about that and not feeling like, well, my Players Club thing went off. I mean, basically, they're all like, look, this is what happened to me. Look, this is the thing that I hear. So I find it very interesting and relatively corroborative evidence that they're all having different experiences, or even sometimes similar ones, but a lot of it's happening right there, I would say. What do you think, Dallisa?
I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the placement of it, where it's at, the amount of people that walk through, the history of it, I do. I think that it's just ripe with paranormal activity. I do believe the employees that we've heard from in this series, and that they've been having these experiences there. And I'm proud of them, for sharing what's been happening and telling their story. And I think the more that we tell these stories, the more we're all more open-minded about it, and we're all going to have our eyes and our ears open and be more receptive to having our own experiences. But yeah, I thought those ladies, Maria and Anne, were really delightful. I love the energy that they're like, yeah. Imagine going to work every day and you never know who's going to show up in spirit or what noises you're going to hear. So I'm sure it makes it a very interesting place to work. Yeah, fascinating. I think we're going to move on to Chris. So I teased this a couple of minutes ago because with our trivia question, which I'm sure we know we'll have Elizabeth on in a few minutes to reveal the winners of that. But there's a little bit, see if you can recognize what the theme might be between Chris's story and why I selected that trivia question for this week. So Chris is a viewer of the show. So thanks so much, Chris, for sending in this submission. And let's see what he has to say.
Thank you, Dallisa, for letting me share my ghost story. I always enjoy sharing it, especially with people who know me, someone smart, sober, not prone to tell fibs. I enjoy seeing their reactions when I tell them, I've seen a ghost before. My name is Chris. My story starts when I was traveling cross country from Minnesota to Las Vegas, and I make a stop in Denver, Colorado, and stayed at a hotel in the city. and like a lower budget hotel. And I'm in my room. It's late. I watched a movie, so it's probably 11, 12 at night. And in the hotel rooms, they have usually they have like four. If you're in the hallway, there's like four doors all kind of close to each other. So I'm laying in bed and I'm facing the door, and there's a little bit of light coming in through the bottom of the door jamb, and the light switches had like an orange glow on them. So there's a little bit of light in there, and I'm hearing, I'm closing my eyes, but I'm hearing the doors open and close from the hallway. But I'm thinking there are other rooms, but every time I hear it, I'm opening my eyes just to make sure, they didn't give somebody the wrong room and they opened my door. So I'm checking the door, and after like 3 or 4 times of this, I open my eyes and I see kind of like a dark mist, like a grayish mist kind of by the door. And I'm not sure if I'm really seeing something there, but just my eyes are blurry. So I'm blinking my eyes out, trying to focus better. And, slowly, instead of like going away, it kind of more coalesces into a shape, like an outline of a person. And then as I'm still focusing on it, it becomes kind of more clear, more defined, and then it kind of becomes more of a solid figure. Then all of a sudden, there's a person eventually standing there wearing a pinstripe suit, kind of like an old gangster from the 20s or 30s, a pinstripe suit, double-breasted, like those gangsters used to wear. And I could make out a fedora hat on the guy's head. So I'm trying to, I'm just amazed, kind of just laying there, just, checking this out. And I'm looking at his face, trying to see if I can see his face. And it's all just black, no features. I can't see anything on the face. And then he makes 2 quick steps towards the bed, and I jump up, startled, ready to fight. I don't know what's going on. And then the thing kind of reacts like it's scared of me, and he falls back on his butt on the floor, and then he kind of jumps up and goes through the wall and disappears. And then at that point, I just kind of I'm just over it. I'm tired. I don't know what has happened here, but I definitely saw something, and I just flopped down and went to sleep, and that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I would have run out of that hotel room.
I know, it's interesting the reactions that people have. Exactly. Some people would be like, forget this, I'm out of here. And Chris is like, I just went to sleep. Okay. Anyway, yes.
I think it's hysterical. Everybody watching, can you do me a favor and just drop a comment on the feed and let us know, why do you think that ghost was there? Who do you think it was? This is Colorado, right? So do you think it was somebody that maybe was staying in that hotel room before? Did something happen? So drop your comments and give us your theories on what it was that Chris saw. Yeah, I mean, to hear him tell the story, and it's so detailed about how it comes out of the mist and then starts taking a couple steps towards him. Oh my God.
Well, what I got out of that too was I think it's natural when you travel to places or you're staying in a hotel or whatever, your senses are a little bit, you're not in your normal routine, right? When you come home, you're like, whatever, here's my keys, I'm going to sleep, I'm doing whatever. But when you're in a hotel, like he was saying, he was listening and he heard doors and he was making sure that, somebody was going to walk into his room. So his kind of senses, you could tell just about his environment generally, were a little bit kind of, his antennas were up on things, not ghostly things, but, human things. And then what I heard from his story was this continued level of discernment, right? So as he tells it, this ghost kind of goes into this form and does these things. But to me, it almost feels like he was discerning more and more as he was trying to figure out what was going on. And it helped him be able to see things like clothing, even though he couldn't see facial features. It gave him kind of an idea of what it was. So I thought that was really interesting in the process of it. One thing that was unique about what Chris said that I have never seen before in my investigations is a ghost falling backward, falling on its butt, or, being having a kind of reaction like that. So I found that really interesting, just as much as I found it interesting that he just went to sleep afterwards, because I too would be like, what's going on? Is this going to happen again? Whatever it might be. But
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. There are a couple people that have commented on here, and I'm to comment, I guess, before I pull these up on the screen, about the ghost falling backwards. The thought that came to my mind was that the ghost is probably stuck, and either doesn't realize that he's dead or something, because to be surprised by a guy who's sleeping in a hotel room bed, it seems like, he's got to have something to be surprised about. So that's what stood out to me. Douglas is saying definitely somebody who passed away there. Michelle saying maybe a lot of past energy in that room. Sharon's like, yeah, I need to stay there. Yeah, but I would say, one of the most haunted places I've ever been in is definitely the Hotel Apache at Binion's Gambling Hall. Shannon and I've talked about when she's in Las Vegas the next time, she and I going through there and seeing, what we can get, what we can capture. Yeah, so KTL is saying, I believe this guy's story. He does seem genuine. His personality, I'm not surprised he was able I'm not surprised he was able to go to sleep. As for me, I would stay awake for a long time. Yeah. I think the one time I shared, I think it was last week or the week before on the episode, when I saw the shadow figure in the hotel in Seattle, it was kind of one of those things like, yeah, I did just see that, and went back to bed.
Yeah, like, well, what are you going to do about it? I think there's those moments too where you're like, no, that did happen, but then there's nothing else to really happen. And I think what's interesting about what KTL said about believing Chris in this guy's story is what I got of the theme of this, kind of what we're talking about today, and the excitement that I had about this limited series is exactly what you were talking about earlier, which is we're talking about it. We're normalizing it. And so the people who are sharing their stories, whether they're employees or Chris or other people, it's becoming more normalized, and it's not so fantastical to say, oh, I had this experience. And the credibility of the person having that experience is really about it being kind of like, this was my experience, and not saying like, oh, this is, under hushed tones and whispers to others. It's more like, hey, I'm willing to share this experience. And what I find with that is that more and more people are able to, there might be a lot of people on here that are like, this is all a bunch of crap. Or there might be a lot of people on here that are really into paranormal investigations, have done it forever. But one of the things that I find is, as we talk about our experiences, whatever they are, whether people believe them or not, it's another language. It's a way for us to be able to talk about these things and make them accessible, because I believe these experiences are accessible to everyone. So I'm glad that Chris came on and told that story, and that the Players Club employees and others are just saying, this is what's happening. Because also in commercial properties, usually what you find when you are called in to come figure things out is there's been a lot of hushed whispers for a long time. And people are not talking about it. They went into the, get the liquor out of the room, and then this happened and it freaked them out. All these individualized things. But then one major thing happens, or they all come together, and then they all look at each other going, are you kidding me? This has been happening to you? I thought I was crazy. And so there's a collective relief of like, just acknowledging that people are having the experiences, whether there's collective, the same experiences or not. But usually it takes a bigger issue or a bigger problem. And so it's nice to see people talking about their experiences without having like, 5 ghosts came in and I ran out of the room. It doesn't have to be extreme. It can be just kind of that sensing and discerning.
Yeah, it's validation. I completely agree with you. And if we're sharing more and talking about our experiences more, it creates more of that bond, that community where we feel safe, because for so long, people were killed and ridiculed for even talking about this kind of stuff. So we're making huge progress. Oh yeah, so somebody's saying, KTL again, the Boulder City's hotel is haunted and they keep it hushed.
So when we were investigating properties, it was very, very common. I still think it is common today, that because it's bad for business, it's common today to tell employees you're not to talk about this. And that's what I think is so cool about this series and the Hotel Apache it's like, you know what, this is happening. This is who we are. This is part of our history along with everything else that we are. And so we invite you into it. That is a unique thing. It may become more common in the future, but it is still a unique thing. And that's what's exciting about it, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Queen Mary too. I think, there were so many things that have happened over the years and stories and accounts. I had my own feeling when I was in the Queen Mary, and now they're like, oh yeah, we're haunted.
Right.
It's part of the story, part of the experience. So yeah, very, very interesting. All right, so let's go on to our next clip, and just everybody watching, this is going to be a short clip. It's actually 2 photos, and I just looped them back to back. And it's a dog, and there's some energy around the dog. And I want you to pay attention to what you see in these pictures, because I want the audience to weigh in on what they think is in the pictures. Here we go.
I want to talk about that dog.
The dog is so cute.
I kept looking at its face. I'm like, oh, the other thing. Yeah.
The dog is so cute. I feel like I want to just look at him again. Do you want to see him again?
Yeah.
So cute. Okay, so we got to talk about animals and the orbs. So if you're watching live or the replay, drop us a comment. Let us know, do you think it's an orb in the photo? What do you think the energy is? And do you think that animals can sense spirits on the other side? My opinion is that they can. I think animals are sensitive to spirits and energy. I think children can see ghosts and loved ones that have crossed over. I've been in mediumship sessions where a spirit will come forward and they'll say, oh, here I am standing in their living room, and I stand over here in this corner, and there's this picture over here on this side of me, and I'm looking out and I can see the baby swing, right? So they take me to these locations where they stand and visit their family members who are still, on Earth. So I think children and animals are sensitive and can see that. What do you make of it?
I think it is interesting. So going to the photos, the orb. So I'm orb skeptical. I'll just say this. I think it is a great opportunity to talk about taking photos in succession. Because that's where you're going to pick up, changes, even though it's the same photo or the same spot, take them in quick succession, you can see things. So with this one, what I thought was interesting is that a lot of orbs that we see are not perfectly symmetrical. So this one looked like a complete circle in both places. And so I wouldn't say it's yay or nay, but I just noted that was kind of interesting. And I think that as far as pet sensing, I think absolutely. I mean, I had my own personal experiences with that, and I've had other people tell me about their experiences related to pets responding to certain energy. Now, the ones that I have been involved with are usually not so fun. So those pets are not like, hanging out with an orb or whatever it is, but they're barking at the corner, or they're barking at the chair, or they're barking at those things. So I've seen that kind of a lot more in that situation. But I also think, just based on personal experience with pets that have passed away and dealing with others who have favorite pets, that they definitely live on in spirit. They definitely are able to kind of come in and go, also like spirit, and they're also able to communicate messages or at least messages of comfort in my experience. So I think that dogs, cats, animals, and kids, I think they're just so much more in tune with their sensitivities, their energy, and they have so many fewer barriers than we as adults have to put up and sense and feel and exchange that energy, that it's a really natural sensitivity that pets and kids have to those things.
Yeah, it just feels like they're, spending time with what they, in essence, just came from, like the dimension, the frequency, the location that they were at before. So it just feels like it's, natural and common practice. And it just, oh yeah, there's a spirit, and oh yeah, oh, there's grandma over there. Oh yeah. Like it's not like us humans that like have to connect the dots, to the next dot, to the next dot. It's all one and all one energy on the other side. I've been showing and scrolling different comments as you've been talking. Caroline, it was Caroline's dog, and the dog's name was Sophie. And so Sophie was the one that was there in those pictures. But yeah, I just feel like I feel that the light that was around Sophie was very, friendly and loving. Just like spirits on the other side, they like spending, time with animals, like humans and those on the other side. They love animals. They love the energy of kids and animals. And so I tend sometimes when there's mediumship sessions, the spirit will come forward and either talk about the animal, that they had, or the animals that they see in the family still, or they talk about the kids, they like that energy, the innocence of it. Somebody was saying in the comments. I'm glad that we could show Sophia. That was beautiful. Or Sophie. Thanks, Caroline, for sending that in. Yeah, should we move on to our final clip today, which is Tim's story, which is a really good one. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so we're going to do Tim's story. Just a quick note, Tim is a bit soft-spoken in the video, so just make sure you turn up the volume on your device so you can hear Tim a little bit easily, a little bit more easy. And then we're going to come back and give our final thoughts and then give away a bunch of prizes. So here we go. Here's Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim Logger. I'm the general manager of BINION'S in Fort Queens. I want to share some experiences I've had. A couple years ago, we decided to renovate Hotel Apache. It was built in 1932, and due to the economy, back in 2008 and 9, we had to shut down the hotel because the rooms weren't at the level we needed them to be to sell them. And so they sat vacant for 10 years. We chose to remodel them and bring them back to the 1932 standards with really cool hardwood floors, stained glass windows, old school type phones and refrigerators. And when we chose to do that, we obviously had to get rid of the furniture that was in them. And we had a company that come in. It was on a Sunday night, and they were going to come in and remove all the furniture. So this area has not been touched for a decade. And we went in and started taking furniture out. Well, obviously that didn't make a lot of spirits happy, and I was at home, I was sleeping, I just happened to be laying there, and my hand fell off the side of the bed. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I felt something grab my hand, and it grabbed my hand so firm, you would not believe. It was pulling my hand down. And at that time, I could not say nothing. I just could not say nothing. And I was trying to say help. I couldn't say help. It was pulling my hand down, and I just barely got out. Help. It let go. I seen an image go across the room, the bedroom, and then it went through me. I felt it, and off it went. My dogs didn't feel it. Nobody felt it. It was extreme. And then what I did is the next day we had an employee that worked for our company that had a gift for, she was a second or third generation medium. And I called her up and I said to her, hey, something crazy happened to me last night. When I said to her something crazy happened to me last night, she said to me, yeah, I know exactly what happened to you. They sent somebody to you to scare you, and they just were trying to intimidate you, and that was a signal that they didn't want you to mess with their area. And I was like, I couldn't believe what happened. And from that point forward, I truly believed what was truly happening in this property, that there's something here special that other properties don't have.
Yeah. You know, I get a lot from Tim's story as he's telling it. So this exact same feeling I have about the Players Club being the kind of hub of, you know, the activity. Tim is the point person, and that makes sense, right? He's the general manager. I don't know how long Tim's been there. I'm going to assume a long time, because I think I remember him saying how long he's been there. But it doesn't surprise me that I think that the people that are still on that property, the entities that are still on that property, have a vested interest in every decision that is made in that property. And I think Tim is the symbol of those decisions, whether or not he's making them. And so I could see how almost any decision to do things would be scrutinized and messages would be sent about that. So I'd be curious to know, I know we're at the end of our series, but if Tim's had those experiences with other issues or other stuff that's happened, because it seems like they're very interested in letting people know what they think about whatever is being done. So I find it interesting, but not more than coincidental that he would have that experience while they're moving out that furniture and making decisions about what to do with the hotel. What do you think, Dallisa?
I completely agree with you, because I mean, I shot several videos of him telling stories, you know, about what's happened to him. It's not just like this one and done experience where Tim has one ghost encounter and that's it. I mean, we created a whole series around it. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's the point person, the person in the middle of the circle where spirits on the other side are saying, hey, Tim, we're watching. Hey, Tim, we're listening.
Hey, Tim, I don't like it. And to answer Jerry, so Jerry has a comment, you know, about whether or not Tim should have asked permission. So my feeling about that is no, he shouldn't have asked permission but I think there's a way to mediate, those decisions or present them and say, look, this is what we're doing. I think there is some authority or a lot of authority in the living that should be intentional and mindful of those that have passed that may still be there. So it's kind of like a courtesy thing. I think it would have been better. There we go. Okay. That it would have been better to, and it sounds like it happened. So maybe they're just expressing their displeasure, but I also think that there's a point of that we have to have of authority of making decisions about things. And we can't cede some of that. Like, is that okay with you? What do you think about that? Because they're not here in consciousness to make those types of decisions. And the best case scenario is that they not concern themselves with earthly decisions anymore and, not be there anymore and go somewhere else. Into a place of healing. So you don't want to constantly kind of include people or entities in those decision-making or whatever, but it is good to say, one, this is a decision we're making and we hope you like it. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry about that. And two, you don't get to come in to my space and start telling me how, unhappy you are about that. Now, I've never met Tim, but the feeling I get from Tim is, wow, this is a lot of crazy stuff that happens around here. Let me tell you about it. And that maybe he's not, being emotionally impacted or psychologically impacted by all this stuff, but others maybe, if you're in a really active property or you're having a lot of experiences like that, over time, I think it can really get to you. So I think it's to be mindful about, the external and what's happening is good, but it's more important to make sure that you're protected and you feel safe about working in that space and dealing with those issues. And sometimes paranormal stuff is kind of a part of the business. I mean, like Binion's, obviously, and that property, and maybe even downtown Las Vegas has a lot of that. And so if you're living or working in those areas, just like I used to live and work in the French Quarter of New Orleans, the reality of that is you are exposing yourself to levels and layers of residual energy on top of paranormal energy, and acknowledging that and doing things to protect yourself from that. It's important, I think.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, anybody that wants to comment and let us know what you think about Tim's experience. I've had people around me that have had similar things happen to them where they feel the spirit come in, they feel that they are paralyzed, they can't move. I know people that have been scratched. So what you were saying about really being mindful of the energy and protecting yourself, you're in the human body, you are still experiencing a lifetime on Earth. You have to take care and responsibility of yourself and your energy and not give away your power. You can still coexist with the energy fields and feel it and go on your ghost hunts and all that, which is a lot of fun. We're just saying make sure you're also taking care of your energy as well. Yeah. Before we part ways, and I have to say, obviously, thank you so very much for everything you've brought to this limited series. We've had a blast, or at least I have. I shouldn't speak for you.
I've had it too. It's super fun working with you, Dallisa.
Yeah, it's been great, and now everybody can watch these lives that have been on the Facebook pages and YouTube channels. But before we part ways today, Shannon, is there anything, kind of closing thoughts about anybody watching that you want to give them in regards to either ghost hunting or paranormal activity, communication with the other side? Is there anything you feel like you just want to close out with?
I think what we were just talking about is really the important part. So whether or not you're going to a place to explore paranormal activity, or you're trying to open up to communication or different energies just in your own space, or even if you're just working your regular 8 to 5, it doesn't really matter. But what does matter about your energy is making sure that you know that you are safe and protected, you are full of love and light, that you are actively acknowledging and being intentional about that. And it's so helpful as you go through whatever activity that you're doing, because I think when we put on our paranormal hats sometimes, and ghost hunting or going on adventures, there's this idea that like, oh my gosh, we need to go find things. We need to go experience things. But if you don't do the before and the after, you can have some pretty serious, you may just feel worn down. You just may feel different things come into your life unexpectedly that you're like, what is all of this about? So it's really good to remember that and be mindful of that. And I think as another closing thought, when we're working with these energies and particularly earthbound spirits, for me, it's very sad that people are here still for whatever reason, whether or not it's because they have a close affiliation with a person or a property, or maybe they're experiencing trauma. I believe in heaven, but I believe in going over to another side, continuing your life, continuing to live and grow in spirit. And so when I come into contact with these earthbound entities, I feel sad. And so I want to be respectful, and I want to be intentional about understanding, if I can't understand exactly what they're going through, I want to understand that their experience needs to be appreciated and respected. So I would say those things are probably the biggest takeaways for me. And I have totally enjoyed doing this limited series with you for the fact that all of the people that have come in and commented, whether it's been about gambling or whatever, is they're sharing their information about what they think about what's going on. And the collective, that not everybody has to have the same opinion about whether or not animals are in tune with, energy. But what's fun is hearing everybody's story, or talking about Boulder City, or talking about the different experiences that people had. And to me, that's what's made this series so exciting, is getting to share with everybody and listening to their stories, not just BINION'S employees, which was exciting, or Hotel Apache employees, but the collective. So I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. I think you're right. It's one thing for you and I to have a conversation and play the video clips, but the audience really has made it, more interactive and fun. And I've really loved all the comments that have been coming in during the series. So, well, thanks, Shannon.
Thanks for having me, Dallisa.
Yeah, I'll see you again soon. All right, I'm going to bring Elizabeth on now. So Elizabeth is going to announce, hello. Elizabeth is our backstage, we'll call you our backstage manager.
I'll take it.
But Elizabeth was the one that was looking at all of the entries that came in through the Binion's Facebook page for our trivia question about who is buried under the flamingo. So I'm guessing we had 5 people. And do you want to tell us who won those hats?
Absolutely, I will. I am going to start with thank you to everyone who has been involved with this installment of our limited series. This has been the most fun, and we have enjoyed it incredibly. So thank you to our experts, Dallisa, Shannon, Patrick. We are missing you today, but we are thinking of you, and we do like having you around. And I'd also like to say thank you to our participants in today's show, Anne, Maria, Chris, Caroline, Tim. Thank you all for participating. You're really what makes this show possible, because without your stories, we can't share them. So thanks, guys. Now for our winners, because that's my favorite part of any show, giving things away, especially for free.
Yeah.
Our 5 winners, and we had several more who had the answer correct, were Michelle Krantz, Brenda Douglas, Douglas Goldberg, Trent Gass, and Letitia Bouillon. And I will be messaging all 5 of you to tell you how you are going to get your cap. And I've seen them. They're adorable.
That's so fun. I love it. Well, thank you, Elizabeth, for everything that you've brought to this show. And it's been fun collaborating with you on it. And so thank you to you, to the marketing team, to Tim, everybody who's been involved from the Hotel Apache side at Binion's Gambling Hall and Hotel in Las Vegas. So thank you.
Thank you. We have had a blast and we've learned so much.
That is true. That is true. Well, beautiful. All right. I'll be seeing you soon as well.
All right. Bye, Dallisa. Bye, everyone.
All right. So as I promised, we're going to do a prize giveaway now. Not that we just didn't give away 5 hats, but we have more to give away. And I teased it earlier at the top of the show. So here's what's going to happen now. I've got free gifts that I'm giving away to everybody. And we also are giving away 5 2-night complimentary stays at the Hotel Apache. So you can have your own paranormal ghost hunt experience. So I'm going to play a video that's going to be the closing credits, and it's going to tell you how to redeem for the gifts and also enter to win one of those 2-night stays. I would suggest tagging any friends or family that you have in this video down in the comments so that they can also enter to win and grab the complimentary prizes. So you're going to go to tinyurl.com/Binion's prize. Again, I'll show it to you on the screen in just a moment. And you're going to fill out just a really simple little form on that. That's going to enter you to win that 2-night stay. You're going to need the code word for this week. The code word is slots. You'd think I was psychic. I picked that word, and then everybody said earlier in the show they wanted to go play slot machines, so it should be easy for everybody to remember. So that's how you enter to win one of those complimentary 2-night stays. So again, the code word for this week is slots. And then I have 2 free gifts I'm giving to everybody. If you want the free gift, all you got to do is redeem it and you get it. So one gift is a free class pass. It's actually from a practitioner that works for my company. She's an RTT hypnotherapy practitioner, and she's doing a hypnotherapy class all about opening yourself up to love. And so you can get a free class pass with that. That's Christina's class. And then I'm also giving you a bonus offer. Jasmine is going to do a 3-card tarot card reading for you over email, completely free, no strings attached. If you're interested to see, what the tarot cards have in store for you, Jasmine will pick your tarot cards and send those to you over email. Now listen, you have to enter to win the 2-night complimentary stay and redeem my 2 free gifts, but you have to do it before end of day, May 7th, 2021. So you've got 48 hours to redeem these prizes. And I'm going to go ahead and play the video here in just a moment, showing you how to do that. But I just want to say again, thank you to everybody involved in this limited series, all of our viewers, Patrick, Shannon, Elizabeth, everybody involved over at Hotel Apache, Haunted Encounters, and everybody that watched from all over the United States as well as internationally. We had a lot of fun. I'll be back myself. I have a YouTube channel called Spirit and Spark TV if you happen to not be watching me on that channel right now. And I'll be back here in about an hour. I'm going to be doing a psychic development game called What's in the Bag. So I'll be walking everybody through a really simple way to develop your psychic intuitive message. So if you want to find that, go over to YouTube and in the search bar type in Spirit and Spark TV. And you'll find my channel. Subscribe to the channel, and on the homepage, there's all the notifications of the upcoming broadcast. I do weekly predictions, so you know which energy, which astrology, all the planetary movements and energy is happening. So if you want to know what your week ahead is going to feel like, you can always find my predictions on YouTube, Spirit and Spark TV. So I'm looking forward to seeing you over there. And again, thanks so much, everybody, for participating. I'm going to go ahead and close out our last show, our conclusion of the limited series of Haunted Encounters. So thanks, everybody, and here we go. All right, you've got 48 hours to go and enter to win that 2-night complimentary stay and to also grab your 2 free gifts from Spirit and Spark. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.